And what up, everybody? It is the Money Match Gaming team and our co-host, Dan Estrata. We're here to get started tonight. We are back. The crew is back together. All these weird podcasts, they're done. They're over. It's back to the
No
originals.
more weird stuff.
No more weird
Just
stuff,
kidding.
man.
Just kidding,
No
I'm
more.
back.
But off to you, Dan. Get us started.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Money Match Gaming Podcast talk show. As you can see from above me up here, today we're going to talk about the new hit movie, which is already grossed over $1 billion, Avengers: Infinity War. This movie is a movie that's been being built to by Marvel Studios for the past 10 years, and you can tell that because in the opening of the word Marvel Studios, they changed the I and the O into a 1 and a 0 to signify 10. This is 10-year culmination of a project that started way back when in 2008 with the movie Iron Man. This movie is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. It stars a lot of fucking people, so I'm not going to really give you credits on everybody. But pretty much, if you've watched any Marvel movie from the past 10 years, everyone pretty much except for Ant-Man is in this movie. Hawkeye is also not in this movie, but I don't know too many like Hawkeye heads out there who are really pissed off. He'll be in the next one, I'm sure. As a heads up, though, before you continue listening, if you haven't seen the movie, don't listen to this. I'm very confident we will be talking about the end of the movie, as that's a big part, and pretty much where like all the conversation within this movie probably lies, because the rest of it is just like fan service out the ass, and then it's like an ending that you're like, huh. But anyway, would you like to give a little description, Lance?
Yes, I will give you guys the whole preface of the movie, the general trailer words real quick. So let me warm up that voice real quick. So Infinity Wars, or I should say Avengers Infinity War. Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, and the rest of the Avengers unite to battle against their most powerful enemy yet, the evil Thanos. On a mission to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, Thanos plans to use the artifacts to inflict his twisted will on reality. The fate of the planet and existence itself has never been more uncertain, as everything the Avengers have fought for has led up to this moment. Ba-dum-bum. Done.
Yep.
I don't know about the fate of the universe, because obviously he's not there to destroy it. But
he's the fate of their universe, I guess.
Only half people died, Only half.
Yeah, that's still fate, dude. Half people dying that's like,
I mean,
oh man,
there's some strong cues there.
When half the people are gone, man. If you're like walking down the street and see half the people walking down the street also vaporize, you're gonna be like, well, this isn't what I expected. This is weird
today's
shit.
A weird day.
My life is different.
Right.
Well,
right.
yeah, I guess if you're the one who's watching them and you're like, well, I didn't vaporize, so all right. Thanos chose me. Although, if you do go on the website, did Thanos kill.me, I did it, and Thanos did slay me, so good boy.
Peace. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they did the actual company run with that? Seeing how it's like this giant meme now?
No.
Oh, that would have been smart on them.
I mean, I'm sure they posted it, but they didn't make it. It's just like the did the Sixers win tonight fucking site, where if you go to that site, it'll just say yes or no on it. Yeah, it's just like an RNG type deal. But anyway, let's talk more about this movie. And I other than RNG, I think it also recognizes your IP address. So if you go there again with the same device, it'll still tell you died or didn't die. Because I tried multiple times on my phone, and it was like, dude, you're dead.
Dude, you're dead. Stop.
You're dead.
You died.
You're dead.
You're gone.
Let's
you didn't feel good.
Let's talk a little. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about this movie. So,
general thoughts.
Avengers Infinity War was a very good film, with a very, I guess, kind of somber ending. Very unexpected. Mainly unexpected because of how they've been advertising and billing this movie since its announcement. Let me go back a little bit. When this movie was first announced, it was announced as 2 parts. Avengers Infinity War Part 1, Avengers Infinity War Part 2. Then about a year or 2 passed, and they're like, oh no, it's not in 2 parts anymore. It's just 1 movie. And then all the trailers are like, come witness the end of this 10-year journey that you've been on, bitches. We found all the Infinity Stones. Shit's going crazy. And then the movie ends, and you're like, oh, fuck, they got me. This is really just part one of a part two. Why the fuck didn't they just tell me it was part one of a part two the whole time? But I guess the whole idea was to sell tickets, maybe. I don't know. But I was a little disappointed that the movie didn't really end. That's basically it. Everything else I thought was really good. One of my favorite parts of the movie, I would say, is when they introduced the different characters from the different like movies and whatever that they've been doing. It kind of kept like the feel of those guys' movies. Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever watched the Defenders series on Netflix, how depending on which character the show is following, it'll like change to the way that show looks. So like Jessica Jones has kind of like a bluish purplish tint to the camera and stuff like that, and like Daredevil is a little bit darker and grittier and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. And they kind of continued that with the Avengers. Like, for example, when you first see the Guardians and you have like the very like awesome mix type song playing while their ship is flying around and shit like that. You have like when Spider-Man is first introduced, he's like on the school bus with his boy, Neil, I think his friend is named. I don't remember. And stuff like that. Just like these little things that I thought were really cool. Yeah, I mean, like it's really hard for me to talk in depth about this movie because I very much so liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it made sense. I thought you couldn't really get mad at Star-Lord. I don't know.
Yeah, you could.
I don't think so. Like a lot, like my buddy was like, it's his fault, and like Tony is going to be pissed off at Star-Lord. And it's like, not really though. Like, because if Tony was in that same position where Thanos was like, yeah, I just killed Gwyneth Paltrow. What are you going to do about it? Tony would be like, oh, I'm going to fucking try and punch you in the face, bitch. Because that's like, they're all the fucking superheroes are like that if they have like a loved one. So I understand why he acted like he did. Obviously, it was stupid and it fucking lost the game for them because they were actually doing a pretty good job. But, you know.
I mean, I was kind of disappointed. You know? Like, I mean, ultimately stopping what this dude's whole being is more defeating than him punching him in the face. And so, like, you know, on that statement, I'm kind of like, you sure. And I understand why they did it, but yeah, I would prefer if Thanos just smacked him around a little bit. So, they almost got it. You know, he regained his will. He gripped his hands. The Infinity Stones went off, and then he just went more ape shit, basically. Would have been a little better than just going, I'm angry! Bah! You know? Because that's kind of how it felt. It didn't even feel very, you know, kind of authentic in a sense.
I thought it did. I thought it felt like how I would imagine Star-Lord would react in that situation. Just how he's been handling Gamora the whole time through all the Guardians movies. But even still, I mean, like, that was like a pretty minor thing. One thing that I also really enjoyed about the movie was the casting of Peter Dinklage as the Giant. I thought that was hilarious. And whoever did that obviously did that for that reason. And it was great. And the joke really landed on me and all my friends. And to this point where we just want more movies where Peter Dinklage plays a giant. That's just it.
Real quick, the D says, how about the fact that Doctor Strange knew that everyone had to die, so he let Star-Lord punch Thanos in the face?
Right, and I that's something that I was going to bring up. I appreciate you bringing that up, the D. That's what I honestly like. I feel like what's his name already knew about all this. Like, Doctor Strange totally knew that was going to happen, but you know, he said that there's 486,000 or million or whatever scenarios that he went through in his head, and only one where they survived. Maybe this all has to happen for them to survive in the end. You know, this is that for them to survive, everyone has to die first. And you know that nobody is permanently dead. Like, you know it. Because there's a lot, like, if there wasn't any sort of media for future movie releases and stuff, you wouldn't know, I guess. But since we live in the real world where information travels very fast, you know that they're not all permanently dead. Also, Spider-Man is by far, like, in my opinion, one of the best characters they have right now, Spider-Man and Black Panther. And to kill them both, like, that's not going to happen.
I mean, I listened to a couple of reviews before we had our conversation, and they mentioned that those characters died specifically because, number one, they have movies coming out soon.
Right.
Number two, it creates more space for all the other characters in the Marvel Universe, which I actually think is a good deal. And I don't necessarily mind that they died. But before we get too deep, I wanted to give my general thoughts on the movie. In general, there's not much to complain about. There's not much to be mad about.
It's fan service.
But I am going to dabble into a few things, Overall, it is a great movie. Overall, it's good. There's like very little to nitpick. But, it kind of meets its needs entirely. So like it kind of numbs you to the fact of feeling positive towards things, at least for me. Like in general, it just does what it's supposed to. And so you're like sitting there and you're like, okay, well, are they positives when it just doesn't equal praise to me when it fills its role the proper way. So the first part, and this is kind of, I think, would help some of like the one and only issue with the movie, which is it's rushed. There's no way, and I mean, I understand there's a ton of information.
Yeah, it's hard
can't help
to
it.
like, because it was still a long movie. It was hard for it to not feel rushed, especially because of how long it was,
And there's like 50 fucking characters. They're still going through the roster, and the whole next movie will have a different roster, which is why they're killing people, because it's just impossible to keep up. But no matter what way you look at it, it's still rushed. It is. It's the fact. It's the truth about this situation and kind of the issue with this movie to begin with. I personally wouldn't have minded an extra 40 minutes. That's me. I know that's not everybody.
I don't think I would have minded either. I mean, the movie was already kind of long. I kind of thought it was going to be like a 4-hour movie, to be honest, and I wasn't. And like even the thing with the movie being as long as it was, I think it was like almost 3 hours. It doesn't feel long at all. That time goes by like.
But that's how rushed the movie is. Like that's how rushed the movie is, and it's just like there's
everything just happens. It's constant action though, which is good.
And like, so like you end up bonding with Thanos, and so my thought on how they could have fixed the rushness is they could have just told it from Thanos' perspective instead of keeping it from the hero perspective, because that's what it feels like. You're going through the hero journey. They could have just flip mode and went straight to Thanos, and some of those scenes that happened in the movie they could have left out. So everybody could have just disappeared at the end. In some of those movies that they were having trouble expanding on it as much as they needed to, like Vision and what's her name?
Yeah. Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Her and Vision and stuff. They could have expanded on that because that was like, hey, we're together. We're in relationships.
They've been together for a while. They've been together since pretty much Vision's existence.
Right, and they kind of allude to it, but from the past movies and all the reviews that I've watched, they were kind of like, yeah, it's you kind of know it's gonna happen. It's there, but not really. You start this movie and they're like full on blown. Okay, we're together, and the other movies they're like, okay, maybe we like each other. And so
I thought no, in Civil War they're totally like living with each other.
They kind of allude to it in the movie too, though. They're like, all right, we were playing with this idea. Now we're playing
with the idea that Vision would just stay a human, not the idea of them dating. The idea was Vision was just like, I'm gonna be a human forever. Isn't that a good idea? And she's like, because it's not.
Because it's not.
And it very clearly doesn't end up working out. R.I.P. fucking robot guy, because that's what Vision is.
But what would you think about the movie being told entirely from Thanos' perspective?
I think that's a cool idea. I like that. And I mean, we already get a lot of the movie kind of not in his perspective, but from his surroundings, like when he's by himself with Gamora and stuff. But at the same time, I don't think it's hard to feel like a lot of the emotion for Thanos,
Because they're not telling it from his perspective. They
Maybe.
give you one insight that he actually loves Gamora.
Yeah, but it didn't. Even that didn't feel super real.
Because they only give you that one tidbit. That's it.
Maybe.
They
I don't
give
know.
you the point where she kills him, and you're like, oh, she loves her dad, but she hates him at the same time. He's fucked up. He's fucked up in the head. Like, easy, you know? But, like, you know, he was still her dad. And there's still emotions there. And even though she had a real family and all that other stuff, and a lot of them died because of him, you know, she's still all she knows. And so, you know, it kind of ends up in that situation. And there's like a few bittersweets. And I'm kind of like you, where I didn't really feel too much. I mean, it was cool to see him cry. And like Thanos has some of the elements I love most about bad guys is that they have honor. They're not petty thieves. I hate petty thieves.
They have a vision, and they're like, he's his head is sort of in the right place, but also in the very wrong place.
Right. It's like
his head is like, look, I'm looking out for the survival of the universe, but
this will work.
That I just have to murder half of the people.
Right. This ideal will work. It's amazing. It'll do the job that everybody keeps saying that they want to do without the rosy glasses. Like, this is real. Yeah. If there's less people, we survive. If there's more, we don't. Yeah. Black and white, you know, and it's just like, it's that. And like, I really love that. And he never feels like a brute. Going back to our Overwatch discussion where we talked about Doomfist and like the class of heroes. Like, this guy, he's the kind of guy that doesn't make me feel like he's a brute. You know, him and Darkseid, I love them as characters just because they just have freaking principle. Like, how many people didn't die because Thanos was like, I don't really feel like killing you. It's just whatever, cool. Let's ride out. Like, yeah, I'm confused by it as well. Like, why Thor is alive, like, bothered me, you know, and why his lackey
I
saved
think
him.
the reason that the characters that survived and the characters that died, right? So Tony Stark, he survived, correct?
Right.
Iron Man survived. Or that's the same guy. Duh. Captain America survived. You have survived Thor, and you have survived the Hulk. Those are the original Avengers. Those are the original four, which is why I believe they survived. It's like a full circle type deal. Where, like, we started this shit back in New York mad long ago. We need to be the ones to finish it, kind of deal.
That's fair.
And like I said, all the characters that died by snappage, like all the ones that snapped and voiped into the fucking disintegrated, they're all gonna come back. Like I think they're gonna use the Time Stone or something to that nature to bring all those characters back. The only ones that I think are for sure dead are obviously Vision, because, I mean, he's dead. I mean, he was never really existed to begin with, and then he was just dead. And Loki, I'm pretty sure, is dead. And like half the half of Asgard that got murdered at the very beginning, they're all dead.
I hope not. That'll make me sad. Those were like the people that I wanted to come back. And Loki, I like Loki.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think the enjoyable characters from Thor 3 died. I think just Loki is like the main person that you would know who died. Like, I don't think Valkyrie is dead. And
I hope not.
No, I'm actually pretty sure it's been discussed by, like, the creators that a lot of the people got off there, like, got off the ship. So I don't think Korg is dead either. I don't think Valkyrie's dead. I don't know exactly who else. But I do think that Loki will remain dead. And I think that the Thor might not die. I don't know about Thor, but I'm pretty sure that Tony Stark and Captain America will die by the end of the next one. Like, for real die. Because I mean, Iron Man doesn't have a successor yet. Sort of Tony Stark, but not really. Or sort of Peter Parker, but not really. Like, that's his, like, you know, that's his, like, pet project right now.
They're alluding to his, you know, a kid.
Right. That's why I thought Tony Stark was going to die in the movie, because they had that conversation at the beginning where it was like, hey, I want to be a dad. These are the names we should name our kids and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, Tony, you gonna die. You ain't gonna see this kid. But whatever. And then as far as whatchamacallit, Captain America goes, it's very clear that either Bucky or what's his name, Falcon is going to take the Captain America mantle upon passing.
I heard,
But I think he will die. And maybe all the original Avengers will die, and this will start like the new Avengers, which I think is like it will be like Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and maybe still Hulk. I don't
hope not.
I don't think Hulk will die.
Like I really don't like those characters dying and permanently going away. Like everyone that you mentioned, I'm kind of like, I'd rather not. I'd rather not. Like just.
I understand what you're saying, but also just the difference between a comic book story and a real movie story is that eventually those actors aren't going to be there anymore anyway. And I think all of them are pretty much done. Like they've all been doing all the people who've been there for the start have been there for 10 fucking years. Where they played pretty much one character for 10 years, nothing else. They haven't been able to do anything else. And I'm sure it's brought them a lot of wealth, but I'm sure it's cost them a lot of time and other projects maybe that they would want to work on more. So this is more so of like a schedule clearing thing because nobody wants to just do one thing forever. Some people do, I guess. But I think from an actor perspective, I'm sure they want to do more than just, do the one role for forever.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair, and I get that. Even still, I would prefer just a reboot.
Right, and I understand what you're saying completely because I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is the physical embodiment of Tony Stark. Like that is what it is. Yeah. He plays that part
perfectly.
And Chris Evans, Captain America, amazing, great, does a good job. Believable. He makes me feel like he is the real Captain America.
Thor too.
Yeah, for sure, and he's only gotten better. Like, I think he started out probably the worst, but Thor is, after this movie, I'm like, dude, Thor is like my boy. Dude, I fucks with Thor.
Oh, and they got rid of the Odinite thing. I was so glad that they did that. I was happy.
What was that all about, though? Why even put that plot point into like halfway through the next movie?
Right,
just be like,
remove it.
You getting a second eye again, baby.
We're going to spice it up. This robot eye, And it's weird for God to get a robot eye.
Right.
Don't you feel that way? Like,
yeah, no, for sure.
God a new eye, just, hey, I'm God.
I don't know how gods work so well, so probably not. I've been playing God of War. That's all about Norse gods, and none of them seem to have that kind of power. But there are dudes who can't die in that game, so that's cool.
So
have you played it yet?
No.
This actually ties into what we're talking about. There's actually a few Infinity War Easter eggs in that game.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, one being they're going past the statue of Thor, and you know how he has Mjolnir the hammer, and Kratos says something about like, oh, what if he had an axe? Like that'd be pretty cool, and alluding to the fact that he gets Stormbreaker in Infinity War, as well as there is a glove you can get that's the Infinity Gauntlet. And you can collect the 6 different, there's 6 different, legendary gems that you can collect that are the Infinity Stones. And if you have all 6 of them, you can do, pretty fucking crazy shit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool when I found out about that. That was a good game, definitely. Side note, God of War, the new God of War. Check it out. It's very good if you have a PlayStation.
I know it's good. I'm just not sure if I want to buy it. I had tons of friends it's amazing. And they were and then it adds that extra tier of replayability because the legendary mode, whatever, God of War mode, they're it's ridiculous and it's
fucking normal mode was difficult, so I couldn't imagine what harder difficulty would be.
So, good props to them. Every review I've seen of it is awesome.
Rightfully so. I was kind of skeptical when I was like, all right, everybody is sucking this game's dick. It's either really good or whatever. And it held up. It's a very good game. And this is coming from a guy who's never played any of the other God of War games. But I very much so enjoyed this one. And it even did have some callbacks to the original God of Wars, which I thought was cool.
So, that's pretty much all I got for the movie. Again, man, this is one of those movies that you really just can't complain about.
It was fan service, man. That's what it was. It hit the right boxes. It was entertaining. if you had been there for this 10-year journey, it's very difficult to like come out of that movie and be upset. Other than if you were like, my favorite character died, and fuck you, because both of my favorite characters died, and I didn't say shit. Okay, I almost cried when Spider-Man died. Just as a heads up, like my buddy makes fun, like he'll text me about it all the time. He's like, dude, you like almost cried when Spider-Man died. I was like, bitch, you cried when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Shut up.
Hey, I got mine. You got yours.
Yeah, exactly.
So the one thing I would say though is that it just feels like this movie shouldn't be reviewed. It is such like a cliffhanger. Like it really honestly feels like the first episode of a series. It doesn't like it's not fair to judge it.
Yeah, I definitely agree because like I said, when this movie came out, initially it was billed as 2 parts, and then for some reason it wasn't, but it really is. And that bothered me. That's the only thing that really bothered me about this movie. And I totally agree because we don't have the satisfying conclusion or really a conclusion at all. I mean, the only conclusion we have now is that half the people died, which is like not real. Like if I read a book and like the last chapter was like, oh, and half the people are dead, the end, I'd be like, well, what?
Where's the next book?
Yeah, we're not gonna build upon this. Like, how do we recover from the half the people being dead? But yeah. Also, I really like the post-credit scene bringing back Nick Fury. Even though for a second I thought there wasn't gonna be a post-credit scene, I was like, yo, that's the marvelous shit to do right now. Like, spend 10 years ingraining in your audience's mind that shit's gonna happen after the credits, so that when something really sad happens, nothing happens after that. You have to live with the sadness.
And Juju, we are talking about the movie, but we're like in closing remarks. We're going to talk about one of the most important parts of the movie here in a second, that being the end. So if you want to take off, that'd be great, because it's more of a discussion for sure.
We've been talking about the end the whole time, so I apologize, Juju B, if you're just seeing this now. But yeah, we've been spoiling a lot of the movies. I'm so sorry if you haven't seen it. If you have, what did you think about it? Do you have any, opinions? Or if you haven't seen it, yeah, like Lance said, it might be a good idea to
skedaddle. Yeah, skedaddle, man.
Although I think we pretty much touched on everything. I don't know what else we would say. Like you said, we were about to get to the part where we reviewed it. Oh, I mean, yeah, let's see. I already watched the movie. I want to see your guys' points. Basically, our points was that it was an enjoyable movie. It's really hard to talk about because it's not like satisfying. Like there's no real ending yet.
No fulfillment.
I think everyone, if you've seen any of the Marvel movies, I would recommend seeing this movie. Especially if you liked any of the Marvel movies. I guess if you I saw 3 movies and hated them all. Like, all right, fine, then don't fucking watch this movie. But if you liked any of the Marvel movies, and you don't even have to be super caught up. Like one of my buddies watched it, and he was he has not seen most of the Marvel movies, but really, really enjoyed his time watching this one.
Why do we sit so far away from each other? We're actually in different locations.
Yeah,
I'm in Columbus, and Dan is in New York, right? New Jersey?
Also, I don't like the way Lance smells.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair. But thank you for that follow, Ice Wall.
Yeah, thanks, bud.
Ice Wallow. Yeah, let's go with Ice
Wallow. Ice Wallow.
There's more after it.
Bitch. His name is I Swallow Cum. That's
okay. There it is. There you go. There you go.
That's actually pretty good because I was like, I swallow cum.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, all right.
Wait a minute. But yeah, I mean, and my points of the movie is it's just rushed. Like it's rushed, and I think the movie would have been way more enjoyable if it was told from Thanos' perspective. Because the second movie, they can go back and fill all those holes, and I'm sure they could do it in more detail, because at this point, it's going to be chasing around for either A, the stones, or B, Thanos. And so they can just go back, they can touch on all the scenes that you didn't catch in this first movie, and then you can kind of go back from that. So that's my point of view, is it would have just been more of a complete package. And Thanos is so deep, and he's such an intriguing villain that they could have done it, and it would have been great.
And one thing that I've definitely noticed for these Marvel movies is, my God, these villains have gotten better and better.
Oh yeah.
As the movies progress, they're really figuring it out how to make the bad guy not seem like just a maniacally shitty dude for no reason. Like, people have reasons for everything, which is really cool. because you don't always see that, especially not in older superhero movies or comics. Like, bad guys are just bad sometimes. Like, someone was telling me yesterday that the Joker, played by Heath Ledger, is one of the best villains of all time, and I get it. He did a very good job, but he's not like his villainness is just chaos. Like, he likes to see chaos. Okay, cool.
But
That's not sympathetic.
But he's bound by it, and he does have a code, and he does have honor. You know, like he does what he says, and that's what partly, like again, that's what makes all these great villains great. Is like they have those. It's just he can be a little petty, and I'll agree with you as far as Joker's concerned. You know, like he can be a little petty.
Going to what Juju said, he said he wants to see all the Doctor Strange futures. I would love a cut of like all 4 million timelines that Doctor Strange saw, just to see like them all slightly different, like one person dying or something fucking up along the way or whatever. I would love to watch the cut of all the timelines that Doctor Strange saw with the Time Stone.
I have a feeling they had a cut of that version of, you know, basically him sitting here and go, give me a moment. And he sits there and he opens it up.
And kind of like watch it, yeah.
Right. And you
filmed
see
like a bunch of different like scenes, and then they're just like, they
over and over and over. And then each time people are getting faces wrecked and stuff.
Here's my question. How do you think that they start the next movie, you know? Like, where's the starting point?
That's interesting. Because, like, that's one of the greatest things about this ending and this movie itself is you don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those endings where you're just like, well, what?
You have to ask
another year to find the answer to this?
Right. You have to ask two questions. Number one, where is the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones? If it's still with Thanos, then it's just their quest to go get Thanos. Mm-hmm. If it's not...
Where is Thanos, though? Like, the next time we see him, he's just like...
I've heard, you know, through like a few rumors that basically he's at Gamora's home planet.
That makes sense.
And I was like, there's a lot of beauty in that, and seeing how they like talked it up. You know, he actually loved his daughter. That was the one thing he actually did care about in the universe, and he had to give it up to achieve his dream. You know, and like again, that's what's noble about this dude, and why I like him so much. Is just like he's just a real guy who has real dreams, and he wants to make the universe thrive. And in the black and white mode, he goes, the easiest way to do that is just kill half of everything. Easy. Yep. Easy peasy. It's like, you're crazy, bro.
I mean, if you could do it with snapping your fingers, yeah, I guess easy peasy. Not a lot of cleanup, too. I mean, it's just got to get a vacuum up all the fucking dust of the people.
Right. So it's like, I don't know, man, because I can't answer those questions. I'm assuming that he still has the gauntlet. It doesn't make sense for him not to have the gauntlet.
Right, yeah, I would imagine he still has the gauntlet too, because if he didn't, where would it be? Would it just be where he snapped, and then anyone could just like pick it up? And like the gauntlet, the 6 Infinity Stones, and having the gauntlet is more than just like, if anyone's wearing it and snap their fingers, half of the population dies. Like, I'm not entirely sure how the gauntlet works, but I'm pretty sure like that's the only way he saw the world to get like. To fix the world, he knew he had to kill everybody, and he realized that collecting these stones in the glove were the only way to do it. But I don't think that's the only like purpose of the gauntlet, is to be like, boop, everyone's gone, you know?
Right.
I think, like, it has like a different feature, and that's just what he used it for.
Right. Yeah, it's a multifaceted thing. It's the construct of everything in the universe. So yeah, I mean, it has definitely more than one purpose, and I think that's how they're going to bring everybody back. I don't even think that like there needs to be a cost for that. Although I have mentioned that because in order to wield the Soul Stone, you have to give up something you love. That people have been rumoring that Tony Stark is going to kill Captain America, and that's how they're going to kill him off. That's what he's going to give up.
Interesting.
But they did allude to a child, so you know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't have a child yet, though. So, and we don't like. I mean, you would have to imagine that the next movie picks up like right where this one left off, right? Like, there can't be like a time skip in between where they're like lived normal life for 2 years, and we're like, hey, remember all those friends that voiped 2 years ago? We should go fix them. Hey, Jujubee, thanks for subscribing.
Yeah, really appreciate it, man. Nice to see you back, and thanks for subscribing again. Our very first subscriber, by the way, Dan, was Jujubee.
Hey, we did it. It only
So-
took a talk about infinity.
So, much props to Juju. You will go down in our Hall of Fame for sure.
Yeah, dude.
I will remember you always.
He was number one.
He was
Schmitty
number
Jaegerman.
one.
He is our Schmitty Merver Jaegerman Jensen.
Yeah, you gotta go all the way in when you do that, man.
You got to get the
He
drink
was
hat.
number one. Straight up.
Haunted shopping list.
Actually, I know where they can start. They can start with all the other characters that didn't show up in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking starting with Captain Marvel, like her getting the distress beep, because for some reason apparently the only way of cross communication through the galaxy or universe is a beeper. So she gets the beep from Nick Fury, and she's like, "Oh man, my beeper is going off because it's 2018 and we still use beepers."
Right. I'm kind of mad Nick died. Like he was
Yeah,
the dude
especially
that
since this is
wasn't
the first
supposed
time
to.
we've seen him in like 5 years. I think
Right.
what was the last time? Like Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been a long
I don't
time.
think we've seen him since Winter Soldier. So for him just to be back to be like, I'm gonna die now. Woo.
Oh crap! Like, come on, man! Like, so I imagine the movie will start with people disappearing, and then them going to all the other heroes that were like, "Wait, the world just ended."
Well, because
Yeah,
see,
let's
that's the
figure
thing.
this
It's
out.
not even the world; it's the universe.
Right.
So,
But-
anywhere where anybody is, like Captain Marvel, I'm sure is looking and being like, why the fuck are half of my, people just withering away?"
Right. And Juju, to answer your question, I think anybody who's been in a movie will
Yeah,
join the cause.
Ant-Man's coming back. Obviously, I think he'll be a big part because he has a movie coming out too. Ant-Man and the Wasp looks good, and I think they will be involved in this movie or in the next one. Definitely Captain Marvel. Hawkeye, I'm sure, will be like, my husband or my wife and son's VoIPed, so now I'm pissed off at Thanos too, or something of that nature. But pretty much anyone we haven't seen in either that wasn't in anyone who wasn't in this movie will be in the second one. Plus, I'm sure there will be a couple new faces other than just Captain Marvel. Maybe not though.
Oh, you know what? I missed something. How do you feel about Hawk not showing up? Like, I didn't like that. Maybe Greyhawk comes? Maybe this is what make Greyhawk kind of come out and then introduce it into the universe, but like,
Oh, that Hulk's being a bitch for some
yeah,
reason.
yeah, it's like that's not the Hulk. That was the only thing that I was kind of like, all right.
Well, because I mean, he showed up at the beginning and got his ass whooped, and then was a bitch about it the whole rest of the movie.
but that's not Hulk. Hulk gets smacked around all the time. Like,
I don't know. I think we're gonna get definitely a bigger Hulk storyline in the fourth one, since we didn't get a lot here, and I think he is an important character in the next one. Like I said, I think the most important characters in the next one are gonna be the original Avengers.
wouldn't it be
Like the
cool to
original.
get like a Greyhawk though? Like,
Yeah, or Red Hulk.
or Red Hulk.
Red Hulk would be dope.
Although I don't know what makes
Joe Fixed It, which is Grey Hulk, mobster Grey Hulk. He wears like a fucking zoot suit and shoots a goddamn minigun.
Like, I don't know the other versions of the Hulk. The only one I'm familiar with is the Grey Hulk. What's the Red Hulk?
He's called Red Hulk.
That's it. He's just red and he's the Hulk. There's no.
Yeah,
changes.
I'm not entirely sure of his lore, but I know
Okay.
of his existence. Same with Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit is a version of Grey Hulk where he wears a zoot suit. He wears like a pinstripe suit and shoots a minigun, and he's like a mobster. It's weird.
Ah, okay, I see that. And then what I've heard from the reviews that I've been watching is they were basically like, "Hey, in Thor, all you saw was the Hulk," and so this was our chance to give the actor some screen time and to kind of develop him as a character and stuff like
I
that.
guess since the only Hulk movie in the universe was a completely different Hulk than we have now. So
I'm hoping Greyhawk. That's what I'm hoping. That would
we'll
be
find
cool.
out. Juju brings up a point. He says that Hulk was basically just comedy relief in this movie, kind of showing like him turning into the Hulk as like an erectile dysfunction type thing. I totally see that too, because Mark Ruffalo was pretty funny in this movie. Like, I mean, granted, I think everybody did a really good job playing their part. And one thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is that everyone got to show their chops. Like, every character did what that character does best, for the most part. Not always, but you know, the fucking even Drax, like his first appearance where he's just listening to Star-Lord and Gamora talk, and they look over him. He's like, "Oh, you can't see me. I'm being perfectly still."
I'm being perfect.
And shit like that. So I thought like every character, like, just they did what their character was supposed to do, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I could give that.
No character felt like they were just there, other than like side characters like M'Baku from fucking Black Panther, or even the buddy from Spider-Man. They didn't really do anything. Gwyneth Paltrow's character Pepper, she didn't really do anything, but all the superheroes did things that you're like, oh look, that's the shit they do.
Oh, for sure.
Also, it's really sad to find out that Groot's last words are "Dad." I don't know if you knew that.
He died?
Yeah, when he's voiping, he looks over at Rocket and he goes, "I am Groot." And James Gunn revealed that those words translate to "Dad" as he's disintegrating, which is really sad.
I don't think I caught that. I wasn't
Yeah.
paying that much attention.
Yeah, so when teenage Groot dies, he looks over at Rocket and calls him Dad as he dies.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, yep.
Talking about that, because like this is all bringing up bad, like other things that I wanted to talk about that I just kind of forgot, which is I did not like the Stormbreaker scene where they went to the star and you know they made the axe. It was just, I don't know, like so much about it
Once
I just
again,
didn't like.
Giant Peter Dinklage was enough for me to be like, this is the best scene in movie history.
Like him losing the hilt to the axe too, like actually bothered the hell out of me. You know, it's like when you're trying to save the universe and you're like, yeah, I forgot to turn on the lights, or I forgot to turn on the power. Like
All right, man. Groot did it. Groot fucking used his arm. He made it. Being a team player. It was nice. It was good development for Groot too, because up until that point, Groot was just a piece of shit. Like teenage Groot was an obnoxious asshole throughout that entire movie. And then he's like, "Hey, look I'm gonna help you."
Oh yeah, getting the different kinds of Hulk. Yeah, that would be probably the dopest development for Hulk, I think, and kind of a cool addition that I don't think anybody's actually thinking about. It would just be a good way for them to do it, and you know, like it's a little spicy, and it's like an extra spice that I don't think anybody's expecting. So.
I'll tell you what, one thing that this movie did really good is that it definitely made me very, very much excited for the next one. Maybe excited is the wrong word. It makes it seem that you kind of have to see the next one because it's so open. And the next, like, that's kind of cool. Like, you really don't, the mystery. It is really like when a show ends, like the season finale of a show that leaves it on like a big cliffhanger. Game of Thrones does that a lot. And now, like, specifically, it's way more impactful when Game of Thrones does it because it's all new like it's uncharted territory. It's not like, I'll just read the fucking book. I'll read the first two pages of the book and find out what happens. Like, you can't do that anymore. And I think that's the kind of thing with this where they changed it so much from the comic books probably too that you really just don't know what's going to happen next, which I think is really cool. And it's just, man, if I had $1 for every dollar they fucking made for this movie.
My goodness.
Disney, if there's a guy at Disney who does not have a swimming pool full of money, I will be really insulted because these Marvel movies have allowed them to create the swimming pool of money that everybody desires. Like, they really need a Scrooge McDuck fucking money vault at Disney.
Just chilling.
Because they can. They call it the Infinity War vault. I don't give a shit. They have the money for it now. They have so much money.
They actually made a great movie, and it's so hard to be upset about it that they deserve it. For once, the billionaire deserves to be the billionaire. This was earned. They gave us what we wanted. It had everything that you could possibly want. Although, you know, I thought the fight scenes were a little meh. Maybe
they were definitely better than Black Panther. I thought.
Hell yeah! Oh, easily.
Fight scenes, which sucks because that's such a good movie, but the fight scenes in the movie are ass.
Oh, they
But,
were booty butt cheeks.
but he said a lot of people were blaming it on Star-Lord. If you think you can blame it on all of them for not stopping Thanos, for sure. I was saying that too. I don't think it's Star-Lord's fault. I think had anyone been put in the same situation where you're just finding out that your significant other or that someone you very, very much so care about was killed by a person who you believe doesn't give a shit about that person, like, and just use them their entire life, that anyone would have reacted the same. I think.
I thought it was
at least
whack.
any of the big characters would have reacted the same. I think Doctor Strange probably wouldn't have because he's a little different because he can,
And I don't think Iron Man would have done it either. You mentioned it earlier.
I totally. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, he totally would have done it because it's happened before. I'm pretty sure in an earlier movie, someone did something to Pepper or like mentioned Pepper, and he was like, "The fuck you said, baby? You talk about my girl like that?
You need to meet Papa."
Yeah, exactly.
It just even still, I think he could have waited that 2 seconds for the glove to come off because they were there. They were there, and then he was like, "Wait, Star-Lord, whatever your name is, it's time to chill. It's time to chill, man. It's time to chill."
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, it was a very quick thing. Like when it happened, he found out and he was like, "What?" And he got like instantly pissed. Like it was just a knee-jerk reaction. Was it the right reaction? No, obviously, because they were about to get the glove off. However, it is what happened, and I have a hard time blaming him, and I think Tony will too. But I also think Tony is a hard ass, and he definitely will still blame him at the very beginning. He's gonna be like, well, Mr. Star-Lord, if you wouldn't have fucking punched the big purple guy in the face, we wouldn't have to deal with this anymore." Tony Stark.
I think he will be a little butthurt too, because he actually did care about Spider-Man.
Did Star-Lord die? Star-Lord died anyway, so it's not like he has to worry about it.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, Malin.
Can I sit on your lap?
No, well, yeah, we're pretty much in closing remarks.
Yep.
So.
Everyone at home, this is
Hey,
our good friend Malin. She
And-
also has a, serious feelings on the Avengers Infinity War.
My game is sick to
What game is that? She's got a game there.
Hey,
I think it is. She did destroy the Infinity Stone, though. He just used the Time Stone. It was like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, she did destroy it, and they were like, "Haha, what are you gonna do now?" And he was like, okay,
I guess
30
move.
seconds, rewind,
Right.
and thank you.
Go.
Yeah.
This is what I'm looking for. Thank you. Which is kind of sad too, because they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll just destroy it," and then he was like,
I think what he means though is that she could have destroyed it a lot earlier. Like she didn't have to wait, but at the same time,
it wouldn't have mattered. He would have just turned
Yeah.
back time. And it's like kind of silly because that definitely means Thanos likes to fight because he could have just really stopped everyone, walked through, and was like, "Give me your face, bro."
well, he didn't get the time stone until pretty much the end though.
Well, when he went to go fight everybody, he
That's true.
definitely
That's
had
true.
it.
Right? Yeah, I guess he could have. He had the time stone when he was in Wakanda.
Yeah, he was only looking for the Reality Stone, and that's when the snap thing.
Mind stone. Mind stone. That was the one.
It's the Mind Stone? It's not the
That's
Reality
that's,
Stone? Okay.
That's the one in Vision said is mine.
Right. Okay. Cool. So that pretty much
Reality, I think, is Tesseract.
the red one. The red one is that the Soul Stone?
Red one's the Soul Stone. That was the one in the pocket knife. Time is green. Purple is power.
Oh, we didn't mention it, and Juju reminded us. So the Fortnite Thanos
Yeah.
upgrade.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about this for a little bit. I'm really happy that it doesn't. I assumed how it worked, and it doesn't work. Like I assumed it was gonna work like you snap your fingers, and then half of the 100 people left in the game die. I'm very happy that's not how it works. There's a little bit more to it than that. You have like abilities and stuff, and you can't just snap and have everybody die. But I think that's cool, and I like I was actually reading about this a little bit about why it exists. Basically, the directors of this movie are just big fans of Fortnite and contacted them and were like, "Yo, you want to put Thanos in your fucking game, bros?"
Yes,
And they're just like,
please.
"Yeah, we want to put Thanos in our game, bros." And that's why it happened, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you talk to your podcast. Are you done? Because I'm not done. But what I like about it is it just shows what this company's actually going to do. I think they're gonna break the system. They're gonna break pretty much every other game. All the doubts that anybody ever had about Fortnite, get them out of your head. Like this game's it's gonna be one. It's gonna be one of the classics, boy. It's gonna be one of the classics.
I will admit I was a Fortnite hater initially. I just thought it was kind of boring, and I still think it's kind of boring to play, but I like it a lot more than I did. I think now I get it a little bit more. It's a lot sillier. I like the silliness of it. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it looks and runs a lot better than any of the other Battle Royale alternatives out there currently. Some people may disagree with me on that one, but
you're right.
My standpoint. I think Fortnite is it's silly because Fortnite essentially, like, you know, PlayerUnknown's Battleground was first, and Fortnite was like, yo, we're going to use your engine and make pretty much the same exact game, but smaller and a little bit nicer.
A little bit nicer.
And that's, you know, that's what we get Fortnite out of it. And I think Fortnite will way outlive PlayerUnknown's Battleground. Mainly because I don't think the people who created PlayerUnknown's Battleground weren't prepared for the level of competition that Fortnite was going to bring, like, right away. Fortnite is coming out swinging, man. I just think that they're just not taking.
They're too stuck in the old school gaming video mind, you know. Like Fortnite comes up with like an update almost every week. They're fixing things.
Even quicker than that. They add stuff constantly, whether it be new weapons, slight changes to the map, balancing things, listening to the community, adding shit that they want, adding new skins, adding new. I mean, and granted, a lot of it's super expensive. Like, the only affordable, really, in my opinion, the only really affordable thing in the game is the Battle Pass, mainly because if you play the game enough, it'll pay for itself. But the skins itself, if you just buy the skins, they're super duper expensive. Like, there's one that was $20 the other day. $20.
I mean, they're doing better with the skins. I think that's one thing that they could do better is the skins, because, like, you know, one of the things that turns people off to the game itself is they can't get past the cartooniness. So it's like, simply, add more serious skins. So the people who want that element of your game can have that element of your game. The simple fact that you guys, like, aren't really answering to that kind of bothers me a little bit. It's like they just keep getting sillier and sillier, and I'm like...
But I think that's I think that's to also differentiate from the other Battleground games where a lot of them are very serious in nature.
They don't need to go deep, though. So I'm not saying like a super shift. I'm talking about like add like 6 skins that are like SWAT or police.
I think they have stuff like that. Like
they have a few
and shit like that. And they like the one that they just added was really cool. Is like a plague doctor type skin, like a raven, like raven wings, like that. And then when you use the glider, it pops up these giant like black wings. I think that skin's really cool too.
I mean, it's cool, but it's just not the seriousness that a lot of these players want to see in the game. Because every complaint, I'm serious, every complaint about the game is not about the mechanics. It's not about how the game works. It's not about how the shooting system works. It's always, man, why are they so silly? Like, literally, all the top streamers that I keep track of and kind of keep tabs on, that is the only thing that they ever say, is my only complaint about the game is it's just silly. I don't want to play patty cakes, you know? Like.
Now, on the other hand, I think the silly is the best part, and I think the silly is what makes the game so approachable from pretty much any perspective. Like, from a parent with a child, if I saw my child playing that game, I really wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't, because I'd be like, oh, this looks like a game that kids would enjoy. From a child's perspective, I would want to play it because it looks enjoyable. Like, doesn't look like a boring mess. And the fact that it's so silly, you know, kind of lends to like the violence of it all is still kind of silly in the long run. I mean, yeah you're shooting people, but sometimes you're shooting people with like silly fucking like a grenade,
a dinosaur,
a plunger, or something like that. Yeah, so I don't mind the silly. I understand why some people would not like the silly, but I think that's what makes Fortnite what it is, you know?
Yeah, and we'll definitely stream Jujubee. Thanks for coming out, man. Have fun walking your dogs. We really appreciate you coming by and subscribing. It means a lot.
Yeah, appreciate all you do. We hope to see you here. We'll be here. We're here pretty much every Tuesday. We're talking about all sorts of different stuff. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week yet, but we'll find that out soon.
But that's probably it for me. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I mean, once again, I think if anyone's seen any of the Marvel movies in the past 10 years and enjoyed them, I think they should check this one out. Uh, don't believe the the trailers where it's like, this is the end of it all, because it's not. This is the half of the end of it all. And I think Marvel will be along these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies are going to be around for a long time in our lifetime, and if you're not into them yet, I get it, but just be wary. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. So just get used to it. Get used to the Marvel movies, because Marvel and Star Wars are going to be here for a long, long time to come, because anytime a movie can make like $1 billion almost effortlessly, they are going to continue to make that movie.
So hopefully the Star Wars upgrades, because I think that this is hard to follow. That Black Panther, the Marvel movies are like really starting to take the lead as far as that concerned. I'm concerned. So it's like, in the series battle.
I mean, I've liked most of the 50 Marvel movies that have come out. Of the 3 new Star Wars movies come out, I have liked 2/3 of them, and very much so did not like one of them. So still long, like
Ray's just too overpowered, man.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts about the movie before we go off into the distance. Any more you'd like to add, and then?
No, I'm good. I think I've pretty much said all there is to say about this movie.
So this movie, I'm going to give it 9. 9.5.
Yep.
But it'd be unreasonable to give it 9.5. It just sounds douchey. So I'll give it a 9. It is an awesome movie. The only other thing I would actually change with the movie itself is I would tell it from Thanos' perspective. I think it would fix a lot of the rushed aspects of the movie, and you'd be able to come up and clear up all the noise on the next movie. It would make the cliffhanger better, and at the same time, it would actually make you fall in love with... It was Thanos' movie anyway.
Yeah,
like you can't really claim anything else.
To the point where at the end of the movie, instead of like the normal tag like Captain America will return or the Avengers will return, it says Thanos will return.
Bam. And it's like they should have just went all in on that. And I would think that would have made it slightly better on the plot and how the movie was rushed. But overall, great movie. Like you can't complain. You just can't.
I thought I was going to be overwhelmed going into it. I thought there's going to be a lot going on, and there was a lot going on, but it wasn't overwhelming. It was just enjoyable. It was a fun ride from beginning to end. And
then it just dawned on me that Ice Wallow is basically how I'm going to say it, is the Lord Soto. It's been a while, my dude, but thank you for coming back and trolling us. But, I mean, that's what you're here for, so much love to that. Outside of that, I'm going to call it quits and bring down the stream. This has been...
Thanks, everybody, for joining us and participating with the discussion. Like I said, if you want to join us for any future episodes or know anybody who does, we're here Tuesdays, 8 p.m. We do a different episode. I wasn't around for the last 2 weeks, but for the foreseeable future, I will be around, and we'll be making good episodes. And if you have any ideas of things that you'd like us to talk about, whether it be games, movies, shows, music, anything, let us know. We will try and do an episode on it, and hopefully you can join us for that.
And until next time, I've been part of your co-host team, The Infinite, a.k.a. Lance, the CEO of Money Match Gaming, and my boy, Dan Estrata, over there, doing his thing. Welcome back.
I will never
Welcome back, sir. Let's get the little fuse on. And so the original team is back, the original squad. Thank you guys again for coming out. We host online video game tournaments for Super Smash Bros. And Overwatch. So if you guys are down for that, please be sure to come check us out. Outside of that, it's been good. It's been fun.
It's been real.
But we are out. And that was D-Live. Now it's time to say goodbye to Twitch. Goodbye, Twitch. Goodbye.